And it looks like we're live. Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I'm streaming live from EA Play. You can see the fancy logo and everything behind me. I'm using a setup that's not my own, so if I potato a few options, please do forgive me. Before we jump into the Battlefield 5 live Q&A, I do want to say hello to Robbie Noble, Noise, Bilbo, Choi Boy, Imika, Tabby Cod Crazy. Who else is here today? Owner Mage, Alex, Karam, Andre, Makob, Matt, John, Atomic Blaze. Welcome one and all. I'm going to go ahead and start the gameplay on my end, and then I'm going to transition over to the live gameplay of Battlefield. Well, it's live in a sense. Hello, Raspberry. Hello, Robert. Hello, Andre. Again, that guy, Tabby. This is, as you can see, my hands are here. I can't fool you on this one. It's not live gameplay because we do not have the technical capacity to stream it. And you know what? I think I like my webcam like over here. It's a little bit less obstructive. So on my end, I've got a bunch of monitors and stuff on the right-hand side. I'm going to be looking off-frame constantly, but I'm going to be answering any and all questions about Battlefield 1. The gameplay you see here is mostly not edited. It's the least curated gameplay you're going to get to see just about anywhere on the internet. A little snotty today. It's been a long day. So I am ready to take some questions from anybody here that wants to know anything about Battlefield 1. So far I've seen a lot of hellos, a lot of OMGs, a lot of nice things, but not a lot of questions in the chat. And by the way, do let me know if the audio is too loud. Battlefield 1. Oh my god, I've been saying Battlefield 1 the entire time. That's super embarrassing. I've just been playing Battlefield 1 for so long, it just comes naturally. Battlefield 5. Yikes. That's a big goofaroni right there. But how many maps? Well, we don't know how many maps. We only was able to play one map. Bear Brown with the first question about Battlefield Fine. Yeah, sine, cosine, tangerine. I hammed it up today with all the Battlefield 1 related comments. Let's see. What was the question? How distracting are the weather effects? In my opinion, the weather effects are rather distracting. It's particularly bad when you're on defense because the snow blows back into your face pretty much the whole time. You can see it on the screen right there. It's always on you. You kind of get like the sides of your screen smudgy. They get blurry. It's kind of a big mess. It is much harder for me to see when you're on the attacking side, since the snow is blowing and hitting you in the back and going forward for the most part. There's a lot less visual distraction on the screen, and I'm not sure exactly how much it adds up to stuff on the sides, but it doesn't seem too bad. MP40 confirmed. Yes, there is an MP40, and you will see gameplay of said MP40 here in a little bit. Matt Kamara says, what is the time period for Battlefield 5? Well, that's very, very obviously World War II. It's a sort of, we'll say, not historically accurate, a historically reimagined, a little bit crazier World War II. As you saw with the submachine gun that I was just running around with, you have what appears to be a holographic sight on it, a la Call of Duty or Rainbow Six. So it's very common. Is there an M3 Carbine? Choi Boy, I do assume that there's an M3 Carbine. However, I can't say for certain that there is an M3 Carbine. In the medic class, we do have a Gewehr 43 assault rifle, semi-automatic, one of the best weapons in the game, or at least the build we got to play in my opinion. However, just given the fact that it is World War II, and the M1 and 2 Carbine were iconic weapons in that game, and that they're roughly analogous to the German Gewehrs, that you would want to have like roughly similar weapons on each side, I would expect to be able to see it in the future. Is there a PPSH? No, there is not a PPSH that I got to play. Again, I assume there's only a couple of weapons, unfortunately. We got to use a Sten, we got to use an MP40, there was an STG-44 Panzerfaust, which I'm using right now, a P08 pistol, these good old dynamite that I can drop on people and blow them up. There is, the sniper rifle is the Kar98, there's a Bren light machine gun, an MG34 light machine gun, and I think that there is maybe one or two special weapons, like little pickups on the map, like little flamethrowers and tanks and things like that. Classes are pretty straightforward. Jacob Benkert in the YouTube chat wants to know, what are the classes? The classes are very, very straightforward. You've got Assault, Medic, Sniper, and Support. They've been reimagined a bit, largely, in my opinion, to force more teamwork out of players. The Assault class is the one that I'm playing right now, and I'm using the submachine gun on the Assault class. I'll swap over to the Assault rifle in a little bit. Assault class is exactly what you'd expect. Panzerfaust, rockets, dynamite. It blows up tanks, and it's designed to be very lethal and kill people. The medic class, again, more or less what you think, except your semi-automatic rifles righteously kick ass. The Gewehr 43 is incredibly strong. And you do get an MP40 submachine gun, but it's not like that amazing. I think the assault submachine guns are better. So you do see the return of submachine guns for the medic class. The support class gets a Bren light machine gun, which works like every light machine gun in every video game ever. And there's an exotic archetype support class where you get an MG34 that you can only hip fire unless you go prone or mount it on some kind of object. So that's the other thing about classes, is that they added archetypes. There's the healer, the self-healer, the rusher, the flanker, there's the specialist, there's the DMR, the spotter. There's so many different things. We only got to play with a couple of different archetypes today. And finally, in the sniper class, it's what you would expect. You get spawn beacons, a Kar 98 that one-shots people really hard if you hit them in the head, and pretty much, you get a flare gun so you can spot people. So more or less battlefield classes. Vehicles. Okay. Vehicles are kind of the same as they were, except at least in the build we played, there were less of them. Vehicles no longer get infinite ammo. You have to resupply them. They're harder to repair, and they can pick up and tow little things around the map, like artillery or flat cannons or machine guns and stuff like that. So the vehicles are designed to be more support and less outright lethal. I found tanks to be much less ludicrous in Battlefield 5 than Battlefield 1, though to criticize the tanks, because I know that you guys come to my channel and you're looking for like a balanced report, I would say that I find their mobility and the overall vision around them, like what you can see around you, to be rather lacking. It's harder for me to get a sense of where the enemies are, and it's harder for me to transverse at least this particular map. Do enemy players trip like your friendly players? Not exactly sure what you're talking about. Imeka says, have you seen any loot boxes or any indication of them? Very good question, Imeka. I have not seen any loot boxes in the game, and I've heard devs very explicitly try to avoid the loot boxes. This is the Gewehr 43, by the way. Very, very fun gun, in my opinion. As you'll notice, my ammo count's very, very low on it. I did notice in some of the press info they released, I believe this is public info, nothing that special, it said that you can get airlifts. Get up to 20 airlifts a week and complete these challenges to do an airlift. By the way, you don't have to be a medic to res people, but you can just do it faster as a medic. The airlift that you get weekly and gives you rare loot randomly sounds a lot like a loot box to me. As long as they're not paid, that's great. If it's just something you earn and you don't have to pay for, it doesn't change the game, no guns. Even honestly, cosmetic loot boxes like Battlefield 1 had were just never really a concern for me. However, Imeka, I definitely do feel your concern, because EA is, after Star Wars especially, notorious for loot boxes and for questionable monetization practices. So it's one of the things that everybody wants to know is, how and why is Battlefield 5 a $60 game that comes with free DLC for the next 2 years and doesn't have loot boxes? Like, they have to be making money somewhere, because as you saw from the presentation, especially with the mobile games, EA likes to run their program as gaming more of like a software as a service, and the idea is that we, stretch my back, like monetize gamers long term. It's the same that most big game companies are doing. So surely Battlefield 5, I keep wanting to say Battlefield 1. I've been saying Battlefield 1 for 2 years in a row. I'm gonna just go BFV for here on out. But they have to be doing something. There has to be some sort of additional buy-in, some sort of long-term monetization, unless they plan to run this game more of a loss leader, more of a we're good guys now, we don't do any monetization or anything like that. That's entirely possible. The Wombala says, can you only revive people with your squad? The answer is twofold. You can revive anybody in your squad. You don't have to be a medic. If you're like a regular, like let's say you're an assault guy, or even rarer, one of your snipers wants to revive you. By some miracle, they're not sitting on top of Fuckboy Mountain somewhere trying to pick people off. Then they can walk up and you press E and you kind of do like this little bro hand grab thing. It's kind of slow. It takes like 10 seconds, but they will pick you up. The medic just runs and sticks you instant hypodermic needle very, very fast. if you're a normal class character, you cannot revive people that are not in your squad. However, if you are a medic, you can revive anybody from any squad. So one of the special abilities that the medic has is just that he can revive cross squad. I'm going to drink a little bit of water real quick. Quaylon the Hunter, there's no information on class specializations at all. Map topography, that's a very unusual one coming in, just a question about that. It's very bumpy. It seems to be designed to be limited vehicles, and no matter what you see in the trailer, it's very hard to drive the vehicles through the buildings, at least at the moment. Game modes. Check out Westy for the game modes. It's basically all the classic Battlefield game modes, Conquest, Rush. I think there is like a TDM thing. Battle Royale, of course. Operations, Grand Operations. How dare you drink water? Yes, Alex, I am a monster. By the way, this next set of gameplay is going to be really, really good. This is the new fortification system you're seeing. This is after I learned how to use it a little bit. The fortification system is... I'm not feeling this one too much. This one kind of... it just doesn't... it looks like I know what I'm doing here, but the overall feel in-game is a lot more clunky. It doesn't feel as smooth as it's looking right here, and you need a team to do it with you. I don't know if you looked around me, there's not a lot of teammates here. However, I am using the rare special light machine gunner archetype that can mount the MG34, and I'm going to tear some butts up in just a second. How do you like the fortification system? I just talked about that. Beta news. Frankie Campbell 02. Unfortunately, I have no beta news. Emax says, how are the spawns? Pretty similar to other Battlefield games. If you choose a default spawn, it'll spawn you far away. If you spawn in your squad, you spawn where they were, so if they're moving, you'll spawn behind them. It's a little bit of a delay so that you don't spawn on top of them if they kind of rush into danger. But you can still spawn in bad places, and in this particular map, if you were playing Allies. So all of my gameplay here is from Axis. We didn't get a chance to swap sides. When you play Allies, you fly in on airplanes, and you can jump out of your bomber, just troop transport planes at any given time, and land kind of wherever you want on the map. It makes a lot more sense to either land behind the enemies like a true paratrooper, or to land in the safe area to pick up some supplies. If you want to land directly on the objectives or in a big group of enemies, by all means, you're welcome to do it. It's just a terrible idea. I've never had that work whatsoever. Are the guns more responsive when it comes to bullet drop? Asks Sigichi178, and the answer is a resounding yes. There is significantly less bullet drop than Battlefield 1 or any Battlefield game that I've played since maybe BF4. The bullet drop isn't very significant, especially up close. Even the sniper rifle bullet drop doesn't take into account very much unless you're popping people at very, very long ranges. Comparatively to Battlefield 1, I felt like there was bullet drop with my SMGs within like 50 meters. Maybe not drop is the wrong word, but just delay. And even with some machine guns, I would kind of have to aim ahead of people and lead them. You're going to really like this clip. This one's kind of fun. There's some of the vehicle action right there. Somebody says, so many Battlefield YouTubers and we need to settle for Drifter. Well, NJ Devil, the streaming pods were open for anybody and everybody. Your Battlefield YouTubers that you love so much did not volunteer to come stream today. So get on Twitter and go moan to them, don't moan to me. But yes, there's way less bullet drop, there's way more accuracy when aimed down sights. You have to spray full auto pretty hard for that to get kind of off-sight. Especially with the rifles, your bullet almost always goes where you aim. It doesn't kind of get off-center or do anything crazy. If you're taking suppression, or if you're in smoke, or if you're taking fire, or something terrible like that, it more or less does fine. Now, I did notice if you try to strafe and shoot at the same time, that's a big stinking hot mess. I would strongly, strongly recommend that you not do that. Juan Lopez says, is the health regen the same as Battlefield 1? The answer is that it is not. And Doom 1K, I have no idea about split screen on Xbox One. We only had PCs available here. See, I tried to drive into a house and it was like, nope. We only played on PC, man, so I don't know hardly anything about that. My guess would be no. It's a very big, demanding game, and split-screen games are kind of going the way of the dinosaur, so I would very much so guess that there's no split screen, and please stop spamming the question. It's very rude. I completely forgot the other question, so you guys please remind me. I have no idea what train that I'm on. Let's see. Thank you for the compliments, Heroic Jacob. Any German gameplay? Yes, this is German gameplay. I'm defending. I'm not gonna. I was gonna make a joke about defending the Reich or whatever, but that would be in poor taste these days. I'm playing Germans right now. Look, I've got an MP40. I'm gonna go MP40 people. Are guns class specific like in Battlefield 1? Yes, yes they are. Crossplay compatibility between Xbox and Windows 10. I wish. So I think crossplay is the way of the future for gaming. Fortnite has shown that that is the way to go. I hope this game has crossplay, and yeah, I know PC players can aim better and do neater things, but it's still just fun to do, right? Does it feel like Battlefield 1? No, it doesn't. Are there any overpowered weapons in this build of the game? Yes, the sniper rifles. They murder people. Sniper rifle headshot damage is increased. Bullet drop decreased. Bullet speed increased. And overall hitboxes for both the body and the head are very, very generous. So sniping and quickscoping and that kind of thing is very, very much so back into this game. I do think that the STG-44 and the Gewehr are very strong, but the weapon that I would truly say is OP, the weapon that really dicks on kids, is going to be the Panzerfaust. The rocket launchers that you get on the assault class are incredibly accurate. They shoot long range. They kill infantry instantly. They are very, very, very effective. You'll see me use them later on here in this gameplay, and you'll see me kill not only vehicles but infantry very, very well. I'm using the good old Sten submachine gun right here. It's you know, it's functional, even if the damage is kind of low. But no, the weapons don't appear to be faction-specific. Ninja Joski, I was able to use Axis weapon on Allied and Allied weapons on Axis and vice versa. How difficult is it to distinguish between classes? Not hard at all. I do find it difficult to distinguish between enemies and allies. They overall lightened up the HUD such that there's less overlays going on if you haven't noticed. And it's kind of like a opaque light blue for teammates or a opaque light red for enemies. For a guy that's colorblind, unfortunately, that isn't a very easy thing to see. They completely redid spotting in the game, so that when you spot an enemy, it no longer permanently highlights them red. It doesn't track their location on the minimap. It instead drops a temporary red marker that says, like, enemy spotted in this general direction. It gives your team an idea that there might be baddies over there. So the idea of, like, shooting players and just constantly spotting all the time does not work. You need to rely on your own eyes and your own ears and your own insights to find and kill the enemies. However, for a guy like me that's colorblind, it's much harder to distinguish friend from foe than it should be, and I do find it very hard to distinguish enemy and friendly vehicles. So, as you'll see in a video that I've got tomorrow about all the settings in the menus, there are settings for colorblindness so that colorblind players can play, but I don't have them on right now because I wanted high quality right here. Kill streak or squad score chain. No, we don't have any of that sort of stuff going on. There's no kill streaks, no score streaks, anything like that. Gas grenades, are they as impactful as Battlefield 1? Carl Byron, the other YouTubers said that they were, but honest to God, I never got hit by them. Maybe just, I don't think they were, I think the medics throw gas grenades by default, and there just weren't very many medics playing when I wanted to play. Everybody wanted to do assault and sniper is what they really want to do. They missed out on that rare LMG archetype. Let's see, what is another question? Do you think they should have done Bad Company 3? Yeah. They definitely should have done Bad Company 3. Man, I love... For me, since this game isn't historically accurate and you've got all the alternative history characters going on and all the crazy goofy stuff and red dot sites, I'm just, in my head, going to treat this game like a prequel to Bad Company. I just treat it like a big, goofy, fun Battlefield game, and I don't worry about the historical accuracy. Frankie Campbell says, what's the new movement like? It's not that different than Battlefield 1, except that guy, he fell, he didn't stick the landing. It's pretty similar to Battlefield 1 overall. I don't think that you're going to notice that much different. It is a little bit easier to vault. I do like that I can jump up to a ledge. If I can look up and see a ledge, I can jump up and tap spacebar to go and climb it. I don't have to do the standard shooter, make sure that it's chest high. You can reach out and grab it with your hands, which is a nice touch. The whole thing of being able to roll over and prone backwards and see your legs, I think, is a little bit silly. And the biggest change to movement that probably is more of a quality of life change is Fast Mantle. You don't have to slow down to go through some slow animation. If you want to, if you've got the momentum, you can just fast mantle, which is quite nice. I see that we just hit about 1,200 viewers. I wanted to thank you all for coming out and watching. I apologize I haven't been able to call out new subscribers or anything like that just because I have no notifications today. But if you guys want to do me a favor and help me out, I'd appreciate dropping a like on the video. I know that every YouTuber asks that for all sorts of reasons, but the simple version is that YouTube and the algorithm and interaction rates and all these goofy things are not kind to me every single day. And just dropping a like on the video helps me more than just about anything else. Platoons, no, there's no platoons. Terribility, does it feel like Battlefield 1? Really doesn't. The gunplay is very radically different than Battlefield 1, so that's why it feels quite different. The sniper gameplay is coming up. How is the plane combat? I couldn't tell you because I could quite possibly be the world's worst pilot. I do have some airplane gameplay coming up so that you will see me attempt to fly poorly and then crash. So thank you for all that. Let's see, but can he quickscope? Yeah, you can quickscope, you definitely can. Mario B says, are the airlifts loot boxes? I am not sure. We didn't have them in this build, so I have no idea how they actually work. Let's see. We have some questions. Thank you for the compliments, James Morton. The announcer is finally real. Okay, that's good. Like the video. Thank you. Black Ops 4 VR versus Battlefield VR. What do you think? Perfect question. Let's talk about Battlefield VR. VR, not VR. That would be neat. You can play this game in VR. BR, Battle Royale is coming, and I think that Battlefield Battle Royale makes more sense than almost any other game adding a Battle Royale because the game already has enormous maps that are comparable in size to Battle Royale maps as is. The engine was designed up for from the ground up for large-scale play. 64 players for the last, Lord only knows how many years. The bullets have velocity, leading, they have their own inaccuracy. The sniper rifles are already projectiles like all good Battle Royale sniper rifles should be. There's already vehicles. We're already used to massive scale combat. It's the engine and the fundamentals for Battlefield are already in place to make a great VR game. Call of Duty has to build a new or heavily modify their engine, a new one from the ground up to support VR. They have to scale the servers up. They have to re-optimize everything. They have to change how hit scan guns work. They have to redo sniper rifles so you just don't pick people off at infinite distances. If you were to do Red Dead Redemption VR, which is the other rumor, you have to redo that engine. Battlefield doesn't need that. Battlefield's pretty much good to go for Battle Royale. It's to just be like a big free-for-all game, essentially. However, the question is, does it need that? And my answer would be no. Even though it's like well made for it and easily moddable for it, Battle Royale doesn't need to be in every single game. Yes, Battle Royale is enormous, and it is a fad in a sense. I don't think it's a short-term fad. I think it's a very long-term fad. You saw when League of Legends was the world's biggest game, every game company was copying League of Legends. They all wanted to do MOBAs of some kind. They all wanted to... Then you had hero shooters after Overwatch. Every game was some kind of hero shooter. Looks like I just had some kind of lag, unfortunately. Hopefully it goes back. Looks like I'm still lagging here, guys. Give me a second. Something is going really wrong. Uh-oh. Okay. I'm not sure exactly what's happening with the lag. Hopefully I can fix that. So, while Battle Royale is popular and Battlefield could make a good Battle Royale game, I don't think it's necessarily the best business decision for them to do that. I have lost my own stream, guys. I have no idea what's happening. I've completely lost it. I have no idea what's going on here. Hopefully it's not lagging anymore. It's lagging really bad on my end, at least. So... And as for how it compares to Black Ops 4, there's no way to know. There's literally no way to know. I've not played Black Ops 4 Battle Royale, not even under NDA, not even press embargo. As far as I know, nobody's played it. As far as I know, nobody's played Battlefield Battle Royale. So comparing them is pointless at this point. Leaning system, Boss Ray. Yes, there is a leaning system. There is contextual leaning, just like Battlefield 4 had and Battlefield 1 had. There is the option in the settings to turn contextual leaning on or off as needed. I left it on just because... Okay, Terribility says it's not lagging. That's good. What was lagging super hard on my end? My end, it was just going bananas with the lag, so I'm glad it worked for you guys. Is it true that Call of Duty is under a class action lawsuit for underage gambling and supply drops? Vanilla Gorilla, if that's true, that's the first thing I've ever heard about it. Honestly. Hey, Reed Newbanks, good to see you. What do you think about the time to kill in the new Battlefield? It seems a lot faster than the previous titles. Mr. Alperson, you are definitely correct. The time to kill is faster, but for reasons that you may not expect. The raw numerical time to kill on a that you never miss just standing still is not any different than Battlefield 1 or Battlefield 4 or Hardline or anything like that. However, since your guns are all way more accurate when they aim down sights, the bullets move faster, there's less random spread, and in my experience here at least, there's less hit registration delay. Maybe that's just because it's land, maybe it's they've optimized it or something. You can drop people very, very quickly in this game. People die very fast. On top of that, since they changed the health regeneration to where not every player can regen up to 100 health, there's a lot of people running somewhere between 30 and 70 health, so they die in even less shots than before. So, yeah, people die faster, but not because the guns are beefier, just because the game has been tuned differently. However, in my opinion, this is not anything special. I'm a terrible pilot. God forgive me. In my opinion, the developers decided to balance this out by choosing to nerf everything else. Your magazine capacity that you spawn with is nerfed. There's a lot less ammo in your guns. My hair is just kind of flopping in front of my face today. You can't regen health as easily. There's all these fortifications and vehicle things and big boomy grenades and rockets and stuff that kind of are supposed to balance out the really fast gunplay. You see, this pistol is not really like a great pistol in this game, but because the bullets are fast and because the hip fire is tight, and it's just really, really easy to use for me. Did you like Battlefield 1? Yeah. Game had its flaws. I played it for about a year and then kind of got out of it, but I played it for a long time at launch. Let's see, how are ammo counts on these guns? Most guns, you have one additional magazine. So if I respawn on this teammate and just, looks like he's not safe. I'm going to go ahead and redeploy some way. It looks like I'm going to be doing sniping. Sniper rifles have a little bit of extra ammo, but most of the guns, the DMRs, the SMGs, the rifles and stuff, they have one magazine of ammo, and that is it. By the way, some of the best gameplay that I've got is coming up in a couple of minutes, not this segment, but the next one we are going to murder some kids. Angel of Death, yeah, I still play COD. I play all sorts of games. Lots and lots of games. Carter Nyber, Carter Schroep, there were no shotguns available in this build, unfortunately. Love you too, Rob R1. What are your thoughts on the bleed out system? I have mixed feelings. I believe the idea is to give you something to do while you wait to respawn. So instead of just going back to the big Overlord HUD menu and just be like, alright, I gotta wait 10 seconds, you optionally get to sit there and yell for help. It did lead to some strange things, like enemies' bodies ragdoll, kind of funny when they're bleeding for help. They just kind of bounce around. I didn't find a way to kill them exactly. What I wanted to do is if somebody was like begging to be revived on the enemy team, I just wanted to be able to shoot them, but that didn't pan out. It's something that it's better than looking at a menu. However, the other side is if you beg for help and somebody runs past you like a medic that should be reviving you while you've got your bloody hand out screaming at them, that can be incredibly, incredibly annoying. I had a developer do that to me today. Just tilted me off the face of the earth to watch the dev playing as a medic run by and not res. Is the sniper meta like in BF1? I think you're going to see an assault rifle meta. The assault rifles that we got to use were really strong. Don't get me wrong, snipers are strong in this game, right? The assault rifles are by far the easiest to use, and they just completely shred people. Is there option to eliminate somebody? Nope, you can't eliminate somebody. You can't shoot them while they're down. That's one of the things that drove me crazy. No Colibri. What kind of destruction of the map are we looking at? It's hard to judge at this point, Matt Mayfield. It's definitely not Bad Company. It's nowhere near the level of destruction that Bad Company had. I think it's going to be very similar to Battlefield 1, and unfortunately the build we played, the houses that were supposed to be destructible bugged out a little bit, so they didn't blow up quite like they were supposed to. Address the cosmetics. Perfect. Okay, so Oh Zeus. The build we played, we generated random cosmetics each time. We didn't get to customize our character at all. but there was like 500,000 billion different things unlocked, and it would randomly generate a character for you in the preview tutorial, which I had to watch God only knows how many times every time we would reset. And every time I would die, I would respawn as a different character on either side, completely customized, sometimes very historically accurate, sometimes very, some very good sniping right here. Leave a like if you enjoy the headshots. Every YouTuber ever. But what's the right word? Some of the customizations weren't very much, and then some of them were all sorts of crazy face paint and cosmetics and playing as like Chinese Nazis and all sorts of goofy stuff like that. It doesn't really bother me. I know there's a lot of players that get very frustrated about historically inaccurate things, and they want a, maybe not a true World War II simulator, because that would be depressing, but they want history to be represented roughly as it is and not how we idealize it. However, EA and DICE and almost every gaming company on the planet these days has been trying to do diversity in gaming in order to reach out to groups of gamers that are outside the normal market. So you could see this in Overwatch. When you add female characters and characters that women identify with, more women play the game, which is more money in the developers' pockets. When you have a diverse cast, racially, ethnically, nationally, whatever, more people play for longer periods of time and the developers make money. And money makes the world go round. Money is more important than to just about everybody than history and or authenticity or your feels about it. Any company is going to choose money every single time. And in this case, money is on progressive values these days, which is on representing groups in history that traditionally didn't get representation, and that's all there is to it. It doesn't really bother me too much because I'm not looking for an authentic World War II simulator. I'd go play Day of Infamy if that were the thing. I don't really feel like it's shoved down my throat too much in this game. Maybe I'm just a social justice warrior. I don't know. It just doesn't bother me very much. So, what's your experience with the weapon attachments? Those were locked in this case. We didn't get to mess with those at all. They just came with like default stuff. We didn't get to change that. How many people were using snipers? Says John Lennon. Lots of them. Lots and lots. The hipfire machine gun meta with bipod? Absolutely not. So the machine gun that you can hipfire is pretty trash unless you're within shotgun range. You can kind of like aim down sights like Fortnite, like tighten up your bloom a little bit, but it's not very accurate. The light machine gun that everybody talked about that was so cool to run around and hipfire with was, in my opinion, terrible until you bipoded it. When you bipoded it, it became godlike. I think the bipod light machine gun meta is going to be the weird thing to see. Yeah, there are people screaming in the background. Sam Nybar. Any swastikas or Jews running around? I don't believe that you got to play as any Jewish characters, which is probably the only minority group not represented. And I didn't see a single swastika like most World War II games. They're going to be doing Wehrmacht versus Allies for pretty much everything, except campaign will have Nazis, I am very, very certain. Do you think this game will be more popular than Fortnite? No. No, it will not be more popular than Fortnite. 60 FPS or still 30? I was playing in 120. I played in 120 FPS. Let's see what's going on. Can you still mark people? Not very well. You can only do like general area callouts and mark them where they used to be, is the best way to say it. How is this in comparison to previous Battlefields? I'm going to hold off on final judgments. One of the issues that we had here is we played with a very mixed group of gamers. There was about 10 or 15 Battlefield people and then like 40 people that came in for mobile games and Madden and stuff. So each team had a couple of beasts and maybe like one good squad and then a whole bunch of potatoes running around. There was basically zero teamwork. So it was really hard for me to get a good feel for how the game would play. I was primarily just like mining information from it to make projections. I think later on during the beta this year there will be better... It'll be a better time for me to judge the game as is. Oh my god, you've butchered the Wehrmacht. Sorry, man. My German's embarrassing, which is super embarrassing because Team Elgato, which is all German, is right on the other side of the window over there. I'm sure they're judging me for everything. The C4 stick to stuff? Yes, Alex Rizzo. C4 sticks to ground, building, ceilings, and to vehicles. You can't stick it to people, though. But it booms really, really big. And it kills people super, super hard. Let's see, any sort of DMRs? Yes, DJ, I'm using a DMR right here in this gameplay. A very good DMR, as a matter of fact, except I don't get a lot of ammo for it in this particular game. Are you playing live? No, I'm not playing live. No bamboozling, no tricking, not even attempting. It's pre-recorded gameplay. I wanted to stream live. Unfortunately, none of the stream booths were equipped for that. So I got the most unedited, least curated gameplay that I could and rendered it into a live thing here. So if you're upset about that or feel deceived, I apologize. This is unfortunately pretty common for events because they'll have like 80 PCs and not all of them can get internet. Comments on airplane gameplay? I'm not good enough at airplanes to comment on it. How useful are the fortifications? Fortifications are very useful in the early game if you have a good team of people that are willing to move with you and put up a whole bunch of fortifications. You can mount light machine guns to it. You give yourself cover. You can protect your flat cannons and do some very nice things with the fortifications. As the game progresses, the fortifications are significantly less useful because the lines get blurrier, and I don't think fortifications are useful at all against good players. Good players are always going to flank you and shoot you in the back and pick off your head when you peek over the wall and anything. Good fortifications are they're noob barriers, basically. They keep you from getting killed by bad kids most of the time. And you should not be fortifying too much mid-match. I think most of the important fortification is going to happen early game, because if I were to stop right now and try to fortify this bridge, I would almost certainly get sniped right in my head and die. It is not a hipfire simulator for Reek Gaming. Way, way, way more aim-down sights. As you can see, these guns are incredibly accurate. Ayed Sharim, I'm not sure about the attachments. They were locked down. Huge question, does crawl break or lower aim-down sights? David Warsher, it does not. The crawling doesn't seem to affect your ADS at all, which is kind of strange. They seem to have redone the crawling also with the whole thing where you like lay on your back and like, I tried to shoot myself in the dick, it didn't work at all, but I can aim down sights and do everything. It's almost like instead of crawling, you just like float into the floor and they change the animations on your legs. Is the assault class OP again? I think it is. I think the assault class is OP. It's just super, super strong at the moment. What is... How are you doing right now? Oh, I'm doing good right now. Kid Junior 3. I'm a little tired, a little mucusy, but otherwise quite well. Hello, Muhammad. Or Muhammad Mahmood. Good to see you. Are the spawn beacons back? Yes, they are. There are spawn beacons back. Did tanks have limited ammo?